Hello friends, hi! Welcome to our Q&A. I asked for your questions in a community post on YouTube. That's like what shows up on your your main homepage or whenever you turn on YouTube or whatever. If you didn't see my little post where I asked for y'all's questions, make sure you're subscribed and that you've hit like the little bell notification, and that should make it where stuff like that will pop up more easily and noticeably. But today's Q&A, I just kind of wanted to, how do I say this without it sounding like, I wanted to give y'all more of what me, because I'm awesome. I think it's really important for Christian YouTubers to like humanize a little bit more, and I don't think enough Christian YouTubers talk about their sin, talk about their struggles, and talk about like their real life stuff. And so that's what I kind of wanted to do here, because I think it's so easy for you guys watching my videos or listening to me talk all like about Bible stuff to think that I've got it all together, and I don't. I'm a broken sinner and my life is not perfect, and I never want, well, let's be real, my sinful self definitely wants to act like I've got it all together, but I never want you guys to actually think that. Wow, that was a big tangent. But what I'm trying to say is I'm going to answer your questions today, and maybe you see my humanity in it all, and see that I'm just like a normal person. But then also that we grow closer as friends. So please comment down below whenever you watch my videos. I was never a commenter until I like became a YouTuber, and then I realized like the desire to know the person on the other end of the screen. I so long to meet more of y'all. Whenever y'all reach out to me on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube, I love it because I get a better idea of who's watching my videos and who's benefiting from it, and like what y'all want more of, but then also like making more friends. And some of my best friends right now in this stage of life, actually most of them are YouTubers, and I love it. Whether it's like you're actually making content on YouTube, or if you're just like commenting on my videos and we're now Facebook friends and stuff like that, you know? So I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. By the way, if you're a Christian mama, you should be on our Facebook group, so I'll put that here. But let's dive into the questions. That was one long intro. I should have just said, hi, I'm gonna do a Q&A, but I didn't, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, where are my questions? I just feel so conceited being like, what questions do y'all have for me? You know, it just feels weird. But I also know that like I always have questions for people too, and I love when people do Q&As. Speaking of friends, Staying Kingdom Minded, which I've done a collab with her, y'all should definitely check her out, said, why did you start YouTube? I started YouTube back in 2017. I didn't really like start being a YouTuber and like making videos on the reg, or like even editing a video. I would just like literally record myself on my computer's camera, and it was like posted to YouTube after that. Like it wasn't edited or anything. I did it on my Etsy's shop Google page. So I used to have an Etsy shop. It was so busy and so crazy, and after a while I wasn't really making good money for the amount of time I was putting into it, so I stopped doing that. But because I still used that email account and that Google account, my YouTube was created off that. So now my YouTube, How to Faith Life, is actually the name of my old Etsy shop, and that wasn't intentional, but it's like whatever. I didn't have like any other creative names. Anyway, I started YouTube because I was literally struggling with, am I infertile? And typing that in on YouTube and looking for other Christians who were trying to conceive and not able to find anybody or any videos about it, or at least anything of quality or that I like really resonated with. And so I literally then, like in that moment that I was searching and couldn't find anything, I just was like, okay, I'll say something. And I turned on the camera and I just put it out there. And it wasn't like to get likes and subscribes. It was literally just like, because somebody needs to start this conversation here, and then maybe somebody else will make a video responding to me. And that's what I viewed YouTube as. Like once I found the mommy world on YouTube, I really realized how much of like a conversation it really is, and less of like putting a video out to go viral or like to get famous or whatever, you know. That's how I like started YouTube. And then maybe a year later, it was after my oldest was a couple months old, I was loving the mommy content and like just seeing mom routines and stuff like that, and constantly would say like, I always wanted to learn how to edit videos. I always loved the idea of that creativity. There was always three things like that I've always wanted to learn: how to edit videos, how to work with wood, and how to work on cars. That last one is kind of getting, within the last like 10 years, has kind of gotten not as attainable because so much of cars is now like mechanized and like computer driven, right? So, I mean, I don't really need to know how to fix an engine because I can't really. It's like, I don't know and I understand it all, but it's like apparently controlled by a computer anyway. So that one, like working on cars is like probably not gonna happen. But like woodworking, I've really learned a lot about since adulthood, building stuff. But editing videos has been with YouTube. I really wanted to learn that, and I really needed some kind of outlet that was still socialized. If y'all know, I just said I had an Etsy shop, right? So I sew. I love sewing. I quilt and I sew clothes, and I love sewing my boys' clothes, and I've sewn a bunch of our cloth diapers and blah, 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 blah. But that is very isolating. Like, I can literally, I'm an introvert at heart. I know I don't act like one, but I can sit behind a sewing machine for 24 hours straight. I mean, I'd eventually pass out of exhaustion, but I can literally sit there all day long, get up and pee and eat and sit back down on a sewing machine. That is incredibly not healthy, like even for an introvert. And so I really needed some kind of hobby, some kind of way to be creative that would still make me interact with other people, but not drain me as much as like going to a mommy group and having to get cute and showing up at a certain time and like being sociable even when I don't feel sociable. I can still like scroll through YouTube and like maybe leave a comment that's less demanding than like showing up to mommy group, you know? So around that time, I like wanted to start YouTube and really influence the mommy world to be less about like, let me show off my beautiful, perfect, white, clean house, and be more of like a realistic Christian mom who does Bible studies and maybe might do a cleaning video here and there. And so I started making a lot more of like strictly mommy content, and then through that process really realized, oh my goodness, why aren't I making more Bible study videos? This is what I'm truly passionate about. This is what I really truly wanted, like, love to talk about. Let me just do that. And so I've really kind of diverted more towards Bible study stuff, and I love it. I really feel like this is what I'm called to do, which is just crazy. So a fun fact that I don't think a lot of people know is I have not told people that I have a YouTube channel. So like none of my subscribers, I don't think, are people I know in real life. I haven't like posted it on my Instagram or on my Facebook. People that I know, like my best friend, who I didn't tell my videos about, she like found it last month on Google, but people don't know. For the longest time, like literally just my little sister knew, and my spouse, obviously Joe, knew. But I don't benefit from those shallow YouTube videos where they're like, I'm not gonna share everything because I don't want my mom to see this video. Like, no, I only really truly benefit from the YouTube videos where people share their everything. And so I don't think I could ever share like my everything, like the embarrassing pregnancy tips and truths that I've shared in my pregnancy symptoms videos and stuff like that. I can't share those things if I know like so-and-so from high school is gonna watch it, you know? So I thought it was pretty important to not share with people that I was putting all these details of my life on the internet. To one, create a healthy atmosphere on YouTube where I'm actually able to be completely honest with you guys and truly therefore like encourage somebody, but then also just to try and keep like a healthy balance with people in my life. I think maybe one day it's gonna get too messy to not tell the whole world because people will be finding it online and stuff anyway. But for right now, I want to still try and be as honest as I can possibly be without the fear of like, what if my mother-in-law hears this? Or what if so-and-so from high school hears this, you know? But I tell you guys my Instagram, like y'all follow me on Instagram and y'all comment on my videos, but I'm never gonna like share my video that I just posted on Instagram, at least for right now, because I want that to be for you guys. And if I post it on Instagram, there's gonna be like so-and-so from middle school watching it, and that this video isn't for them, you know, and I wouldn't be able to be as raw and real in my Bible studies if I was showing it to those people, you know? So I hope that makes sense. It's not that I'm ashamed of YouTube. Maybe at first I was like a little embarrassed and like didn't want people to know, but it's not that I'm ashamed of YouTube at all. In fact, I'm very proud of the biblical, like, awesome community that we've created here, but I also just want to keep it like an honest and a real community, and you can't really be honest and real when like people from real life are seeing everything about your life on the internet too. I don't know how to word it, but please comment down below if you can relate to me. Okay, anyway, let's move on to another question. How old am I? I am, how old am I? 25, I think. Yeah, I'm 25. I'll turn 26 in December. So we had my firstborn at 23 and Sutton, my secondborn, at 24. Yeah, I've been married for 4 years. We got married in 2016. I'll put some pictures on the screen. We got married as juniors in college, and it was great. And marriage is not a happily ever after, but it's a happily ever forever, fighting for happy forever. I don't think people like, I hate the whole happily ever after thing. I think it's a lie that like the story ends there. The story begins there, you know? How many children do you want / do you want more? We, like literally on our first date, I told my husband that I want a large family and that he's gonna have to be okay with that. That was our first date too. We want a large family. I definitely want a large family. There are most days I don't feel like I can handle a large family because I feel like I fail my kids, my spouse every single day. For my whole life, basically, I've always wanted a large family, like 19 kids and counting style. Like that's just my deep desire. Now, if y'all have been subscribed to me for a while, you know that I have a pelvic bone disformation thing. So I'll link that video up here. But I found out with my firstborn that my pelvic bone is not correctly formed for birth. So I can't have a vaginal birth. That's why I have to have C-sections. I was attempting a normal birth with my firstborn and he got stuck. They like literally couldn't get him past my pelvic bone because it was like misshapen, which it's like a thing. So it's okay, but it's not okay because I can only have C-sections. And if you don't know much about C-sections are limited. Sorry if you can hear the lawnmower. They suggest that you only have 3 C-sections because it just gets more and more dangerous with each C-section after that. That has been really hard for us. We always talked about fostering and adopting, and so I see that in our future. I don't know if we'd like try one more time for a biological child and then adoption, or a couple more times and then adoption, or adoption and then try again for I don't know. Right now we're not actively trying to have kids. Mama needs a little break. But yeah, I think honestly as many as the Lord will give me. I have always wanted a large family, and I might die a little disappointed if I don't get a large family. And I do think that the desire is from the Lord, and I praise him for that desire because I know many people don't have the desire. I don't understand them, but I know many people don't have the desire. Comment down below if you have the desire for a large family. That way us weirdos can connect. But yeah, it is my husband's goal to pastor a church independently. I don't know, we go back and forth on this. If you would have asked him a year ago, he would have said, no, I would love to be an assistant pastor for the rest of my life. I don't know now. Now he is an assistant pastor. He's like a pastor of like family and children's ministries. So he does youth, he does children, and he does like any kind of like large family groups, Bible study stuff. He loves that. He doesn't love like ultimately a lot of like the decision making, responsibility stuff on his shoulders. He just wants to hang out with people and talk about Jesus with them. That's really truly like, he is amazing at relational ministry. He is an extrovert, even though he's more quiet. And so he just loves just to like do life with people, go get a meal, do a Bible study, like hang out, whatever, play football. Like he just wants to do life with people and honor Jesus with that. Maybe less so his end goal to be a head pastor. I mean, that might be like in some ways inevitable. Most people hire you as an assistant pastor assuming that within 10 years you'll move on to another like step higher job, but that's definitely not like his goal really. I would say our end all be all goal is to be on the mission field. That would, yeah, totally be, that was our goal when we met and we started dating, and I think it is like our end all be all goal. We talk a lot about retiring on the mission field. And y'all know my husband just took a new job here as an assistant pastor, but he and I were talking with missions organizations weeks before he took the job. It's something that we're constantly going, Lord now, because it is our goal. And we want to be as involved in any kind of missions as right now. And so we do view our house as a mission field to our boys, and we view ourselves as missionaries where we are here. We weren't raised here. We don't truly completely relate to the culture here as much as we would like back home where we're from. And so we really truly do view ourselves as missionaries to America, even though we are Americans. Is there significance behind your kids' names? This is from Katie O'Malley. So my oldest is Winchester Ward and my second oldest is Sutton Robert. All of those 4 names, Winchester, Ward, Sutton, Robert, those are family names. So Winchester is my husband's grandmother's maiden name. It's like the Winchester rifle, which is a very Southern thing to name your son after a gun. Many people assume that we're like gun enthusiasts, which we're not. It's just a really powerful, cool sounding name that was a family name and a way to honor a name that was kind of dying on our side of the family. So Joe's grandmother's maiden name, and then Ward is Joe's great-grandmother's maiden name, and we just thought it sounded cool. Triple W, Winchester Ward Womack. And then Sutton Robert, Sutton is Joe's middle name, and his mother lost her father at a very young age. His name was Sutton, or Sut. He died of cancer in his 30s, and so we love his testimony, we love his wife, and we just love the sound of the name, and so we wanted to use the name Sut. We call them Win and Sut for short, which I just think sounds super cute together. And then Robert is my grandfather's name, so my mother's father's name. I really thought it was about time that we used a name for my side of the family, but also very influential man in my family and in my life. And he passed away when I was a freshman in high school, and his wife I am actually very proud to be named after, and she is just the most sweet, giving, sacrificial woman ever. And I wanted to honor them with whatever kid we had next, whether it was a boy or girl. We were gonna name our kid after one of the two of my grandparents. Did I always want to be a stay-at-home mom? Yes, I did always want to be a stay-at-home mom. My mom always talked about how precious her stay-at-home mom years were, and they were cut a little bit short with 9/11. My dad lost his job, and so my mom went back to work. I think, yeah, 9/11. And so she missed those last couple years with my sister, with my younger sister, and just missed some time with us, and always was a little bit resentful that she lost that time. So I really want to savor and enjoy and be home, even though it is incredibly hard for me to be home all the time. I do daydream what it would be like to have a job. As long as we can financially bear it, I will be a stay-at-home mom. There are so many benefits. I know I'm very privileged to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. We've definitely considered homeschooling in the future, and we'll just have to see what God has in store for what my stay-at-home mom role will look like. But once all our kids are school age, if they're not homeschooled, then maybe I'll go back to work then. We'll just see. How did I become a Christian? I was raised in kind of a cultural Christian home. I was baptized in the Catholic Church and then baptized again in the Southern Baptist Church. And I was actually told that there's not a big difference between Catholicism and Southern Baptist churches, which is a huge difference if you don't know. I did not truly become a believer until my older sister, who's the one who just passed away, she started struggling, just making bad decisions, and it really made me realize for the first time in my life the depths of sin and brokenness and the effects that it will have on your loved ones and those around you. And it was the summer of 2007, I believe, the same week I started my period. And I remember I was at youth camp. I was at Centrifuge in New Mexico. Please comment down below if you've ever been there. Glorieta, New Mexico. I just called out to the Lord saying, you know, this responsibility of this life and not bringing more brokenness into life is too big. Like I can't bear this responsibility of not hurting those around me, of this righteousness that I can't attain. I'm too broken. I'm too lost. I'm too sad about my sister. And I really felt the weight and the depth of my brokenness and my need for a savior, someone who is bigger and greater than I. And I surrendered my life to the Lord. And from that moment forward, had a hunger and a thirst to know God more. and my whole life started looking different. I remember every single morning and every single night I would spend time with the Lord. I wouldn't let myself get up out of bed in the morning time and go pee until I had spent time with the Lord. And then again, my freshman year of high school, after my grandfather died, the one I just talked about, who we named our son after, really getting even deeper with the Lord. Or I guess it was my sophomore year of high school. Just seeking the Lord even more. Jeremiah 29:13 was my life verse at the time. Just seek the Lord, and you will find him when you seek the Lord with all your heart, and wanting to know God more, and really seeing even more the older I got, just the depths of how badly I needed a Savior, because the responsibility of my sin and not just being a good person, but really seeing that, yeah, I'm not a good person, and I'm only bringing death and destruction, and I need a Savior. And yeah, that's how I really truly came to having a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Because I think people can know of Jesus, really truly like be a cultural Christian, like they know Jesus exists and they claim to believe in Jesus, but they don't have a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. They don't truly believe that they really truly need him. And you see that in the way that they don't want him. They don't, yearn for more of his word and yearn for more of him and run after him. They're not thirsty for him because they don't truly know him. I don't know. I hope that encourages you guys. But I would say it was in 2007 when I really truly surrendered my life to the Lord that it hit me when someone said, I would question your faith if God hasn't completely and utterly changed your life. And that really resonated with me, and I now see that looking back, yeah. Whether or not you're raised in a Christian home, your faith, when it became real to you, should completely and utterly change your life. And of course, it's an ongoing thing. It's not just like, boom, I'm changed and then no more change. Like, sanctification is the process of being made holy, even on this side of heaven, because God is living within you and God is at work within you. So I think when you become a believer, your life should be different, like boom, but also continually, year by year, every 3 years, you see this is a new, deeper, even more of an awakening in Christ, like the Great Awakening, a revival. How do you keep Jesus at the center of your relationships with your children? I actually made a video kind of about this, how I teach my baby about Jesus, and I will link it up above. Now, it's hard because I have young ones. My oldest is 2, he'll be 2.5 in October, and my youngest is 10 months. So it's hard, to be completely honest. I think to keep Jesus at the center of my relationship, to answer your question, is to be a mirror, to reflect Jesus to my kids. And so in those moments when I want to yell at my son at lunch today because he wouldn't eat his food, trying to show him the grace and the mercy of Jesus, but also like, dude, you need to eat some veggies. But also then just like teaching him to delight in the Lord, because I think that is something that comes with salvation. But just like you teach your kids to learn how to love reading and to learn how to love whatever sport or whatever hobby, I want to teach my kids to delight in the Lord, and that the church is a safe place. And so we try and go to the church where my husband works and play in the nursery and play on the playground, and it be a happy place for them. I'm not a huge fan of people who okay, let's say your kid is running through the church and they stop their child there and spank them. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think it might just be because I'm a super sensitive person, but I think that would super harm my view of God if that had happened to me as a kid. My mom definitely taught us to be like quiet, and there's actually an old story of when my mom my sister was acting up and my mom threw over her shoulder and walked out of mass early, and my sister goes, "Don't whip me," and the whole congregation heard. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not that we didn't get spanked and that church was an irreverent place, but I think I do want my kids running in church. I want them to run to the cross, and I do want them to feel like they can giggle in church to a degree, because I want them to know that church is a safe place and that they can be heard in church, and that their voice does matter, because Jesus sat at the well with the woman. There's a both and, yeah, be reverent, and then we're not gonna run through church and you know, like make a mess and be unreverent. But then there's also the fact that like the church should be a safe place. And if you don't feel comfortable enough to sit and breathe, then maybe we're being a little bit too harsh on the rules. So making church a safe place. I love teaching. Right now we're working through just John 3:16, like a little memory verse for when my oldest. I sing, "This is the day that the Lord has made," every time I wake them up. We work on catechism questions. If you don't know about catechisms, I know that's not as widely known in some denominations, but it's just like I use the Westminster Shorter Catechism, and then they have another version for kids, but I just use the shorter, and we just go through it. And so I say like, what is the chief end of man? Which, I mean, if you ask a lot of adults, they don't know the answer to that question, and they like, what does that even mean? The chief end of man is to glorify God and to enjoy him forever, right? And so that is asking, what is the purpose of man? And he doesn't know what I'm asking him. Like, let's be real. He has no idea what those words mean, but he knows his part is to say, to glorify God. And he thinks it is so incredibly funny, because he knows that he's going to be tickled, and I'm going to rejoice in the fact that he is shouting God's praises. There's this big like cross statue when we are driving to Walmart, and so he says, "Ooh, mama, cross. Jesus lives in my heart." Boom, boom. Just little things like that. Like anything I can teach him, even though he doesn't understand it right now and he has no conception of death, never mind the cross. Like just those little seeds are planted, and then it's my job his whole life long to water and to till the ground and to work on that garden of his faith and his heart, right? And God is faithful to produce that harvest in his children. And so it's just my faithful duty as a mom and as a parent of covenant children to teach them in his word and to teach his statutes, and to write it as a signpost in our household of like, this is what we believe and we delight in it. It's not that we just believe that Jesus died on the cross for us sinners, but we delight in a lovely, amazing God who loves us better than mom and dad can ever love us, you know? That plays out in the ways that I apologize to him when I lose my anger, even though he's only 2 and he doesn't understand what I'm saying. This video is getting way too incredibly long, but I hope that answered your question. Just anything that I feel convicted towards, I'm constantly praying for my boy's salvation, and I think prayer is so incredibly important, because not only should we be praying for our children, but also the Lord gives us passions and things that we can do and ideas of things to do with our boys or our children when we're praying and asking him for wisdom. So anyway, I am going to split this in 2 videos, and I will come back next week and share with you guys the story of how my husband and I met. So I'll see you guys next Monday. Bye guys.